You make me laugh. This gentleman on my Facebook always have a good laugh for me. He's trying to tell this other gentleman, Terrence, who said that the Bible is a copy, that it copies previous civilization. Nothing about the Bible is a copy. You haven't even done the research to realize how impossible it would be for it to copy. Name one thing that is copied. Okay. If you were to go and read the Atrahasis, which is written prior to your Bible, it talks about a story, an amazing story. You have the God, the primary God. The humans are too loud. He tells the other gods, hey, a flood is coming, but do not tell the humans. But one of the deities, he goes and he tells his son, Utnapishtim, a flood is coming. I'm going to give you instructions of how to build a boat. When you build this boat, take you and your family inside this boat. And then I want you to take the seed of every animal and place it on the boat so that civilization can be restarted again. The deluge comes. It rains. It storms. He's on the water. Everyone else dies. And then he sends out a dove. No, he sends out a raven. Raven comes back, sends out another one. It comes back, sends out a dove. The dove doesn't return. And then he knows that the land is dry because the dove has found a place to perch. And so he unloads the ship and restarts civilization again. This is an Atrahasis. This is a Sumerian text. This predates your biblical text. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? But the Bible doesn't copy anything. Nah. And a copy doesn't have to be a direct copy word for word. It's about the themes and the primary characters that makes it a copy. I watched Death Race 2000 when I was a kid. The version that they came out about 20 years ago. It's a copy, but it's not the same. The television behind me that you can't see, but the television behind me is playing the movie Ocean's 11. It is a copy, but it has some subtle differences to them. The Little Mermaid that just came out, this may be in your time frame. The new one has some changes, but it was a copy, but it wasn't exactly the same. So a copy doesn't have to be exactly the same. Oh, let me give you another one. In the beginning, the gods came together, Anu, Neharsag, Enlil, and Enki, and they said, let us create man in our own image. They went into the Apsu, and after 16 trials, they created man. They called him Adapa. He could not be alone, so they had another female version created, Titi. They took Adapa and Titi, and they placed them in the Garden of Eden in Chaldea for them to manage the garden. Until one day when Enlil was walking in the cool of the day and noticed that Titi had become pregnant and said that if man is able to reproduce himself, he will become like us and revolt against us. So Titi and Adapa were kicked out of the garden to live amongst the land and farm and that sort of thing. Titi had a baby. That first baby, his name was Cain. The second baby was named Abel. One was a farmer. The other one was practiced animal husbandry. Cain rose up against Abel, fought, and killed Abel. Not a copy. What? Your Bible don't copy what? Come on, man. The research is not even hard. It's not even hard to do the research to find where the original stories within the Bible came from adaptations of the Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian story. You can find similarities also from the Kemetic story of Ra creating the earth, and the firmament, Nut and Jeb, was in such a clutch. The two waters were in such a clutch that the wind shoe came in and separated the waters from the waters so that the land appears. This is in the Kemetic story of Ra's creation of the earth. And there are many creation stories within the Kemetic story, but that's just one of them, you know. So there are a lot of similarities that have been brought in from the people of the Levant who happen to live in the same area of these Kemetic, Sumerians, Babylonian people, and they had similar stories, like Marduk building a Tower of Babel to communicate with all of his people. But then Enlil destroys the tower, and the ability for them to communicate was lost. It's popular themes that have been re-edited and retold in order to fit a new people that ended up being called the Hebrew people. I could go on with many more, like Joseph in Egypt, who became the big second dude to the Pharaoh and helped them survive a 7-year drought. Ramos, who fought the forces of Tutankhamun on the Red Sea, and those who worshiped the Aten left and went into the Levant 400 or 500 years before a Moses story was ever told. It's not that hard. Maybe you should open yourself up to research things without a predetermined landing spot and allow the information to just be the information. But in order to do that, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.